Good afternoon, Don't Unfriend Me Nation. I have been under the weather. It has been a crazy couple of days, but feeling much better and not going outside because it's too windy. I've tried. Too bright, too windy. Either way, you're getting me from the basement, so I might be a little echoey. But one of the things that I want to talk to you this afternoon about, depending on what time zone you're in, fascism. And, I'm kind of just become anesthetized to how many times I've been called a fascist or a Nazi or a racist. And I realize that when people say it, it doesn't bother me anymore because it doesn't mean anything. It's just duplicitous. It's used as much as dude or my guy or any other moniker. And that's not the way it should be. It shouldn't feel that way. It should be something that is palpable, cathartic, almost painful when someone would say those words to you. So I was just thinking and reading over some titles and some news articles this morning. And there was an article in regards to Republicans in Florida and all over the United States that are banning transgenderism, which is ridiculous. Of course, it's not banning transgenderism, but the comments are made about Republicans and calling them fascists and saying, fascist Republicans are banning transgender women to play in sports. And my whole thought on that one sentence was there's a hell of a lot more than just one word that's wrong with that. I mean, first of all, fascism, we've already talked about, but we'll go into that a little bit more. The big one is transgender women. It's actually not a real thing. It's a made-up thing. It doesn't make any sense to me. And when you use the word fascism on top of it, it makes your entire preface just even more ignorant because you don't have a fucking clue what fascism is. No offense, I'm sorry to use the language, but it's not anything that leftists don't like. That's not it at all. And ironically, fascism is actually a subset of socialist thinking. That rather than overt ownership of the means of production, as in Marxism, it merely seeks to control industry and the means of production through heavy regulation and industry boards. And unlike Marxism, which saw itself as an international struggle between social classes, fascism is a nationalist movement framing the struggle as between one's nation and all others. Opposition to the state is not permissible under fascism. Mussolini put it as all within the state, nothing outside the state, and nothing against the state. Thus, fascism is characterized by totalitarian control by the state, harsh suppressions of opposition, control of the means of production, socializing the benefits of industry while privatizing the risk, and a strong nationalist ethic to boot, all of which has all to do with transgender athletes. Got me to cuss twice in one show. That's a rarity. Maybe I'm a fascist. The next issue with this is that the bill does not ban transgender athletes. That is, frankly, a blatant lie. The proposed bill, the Protection of Women and Girls in Sports Act, which I would presume you're talking about, and all of them are talking about after reading these articles, would generally prohibit school athletic programs from allowing individuals whose biological sex at birth was male to participate in programs that are for women or girls. This is consistent with Title IX. Title IX is legislation that was passed in the early 1970s to prevent discrimination in sports, specifically but not limited to underfunding girls' sports if such sport is funded in part or in whole by the federal coffers. Title IX was, in point of fact, a hard-won victory by feminists to ensure women and girls had equal opportunities in athletics. Equal opportunities. So unless you mean to argue that Title IX be repealed as sports is not a legitimate government concern and that women and girls do not deserve to have the same opportunities in athletics as men, you might want to bite your tongue now. Republicans are not preventing trans athletes from playing sports. All sports are open to trans athletes to play based on their biological gender. In point of fact, when trans women are allowed to play sports with biological women, it infringes on the biological woman's right to compete within the same opportunity as biological males. That's why there are separate men's and women's teams, and why Title IX was implemented in sports in the first place. Republicans do not want to ban trans women from sports. Their issue is with the competing against women fact. You might think that there is no difference and everything should be completely fine, but why does this separate division exist in the first place? You can look in sports after sport, and there are material differences in the two groups. Often a male qualifying time is essentially at or beyond a record time for a female. In the 100-meter dash, for example, 10.49 is the woman's world record, and it's not uncommon to see 10 to 10.5 second qualifying times for males. Literally everyone in the race will run faster than the women's record. The male record, by the way, is 9.58. You cannot argue that it should be separated by gender and simultaneously that it should not. One of the two must be true. Either have everyone compete against each other, which there is a ton of evidence that does not turn out well, or keep the divisions separate. Nobody has any issue with a male deciding that they are trans and wanting to compete in pink shorts against other males. The issue is with them competing against females, as their physiologies are measurably different. In summary, stop calling everything you don't like fascism. Stop lying about what various government bills will actually do or do not do. Don't say gay. And consider the ramifications of what you propose before running your mouth off. Using words like Nazi, fascist, racist is not only dangerous, it degrades the true meaning. Words like that are used in the most dire of circumstances, and you not being able to play dress up and pretend in every single facet of your life is not the biggest travesty. The travesty is that not everything in life is guaranteed. And just because you want something doesn't make it so. A decision needs to be made. If you want to be a woman and are a man, that's fine. But you don't get to tread on real women's rights in the process. Unfortunately, it comes down to this. Do you want to compete in sports, or do you want to be a woman? If the answer is to be a woman, well, welcome to the club. You're getting a taste of something that everyone who lives in the XX or XY world has and does every single day. The simplest truth that life is based on choices and that you don't always get what you want. Folks, thanks so much for watching the Don't Unfriend Me show. I'll be on tonight live with Olivia. We're feeling better. We're ready to have a good live show. Stop by thedumbshow.com if you want to go pick up some hats and shirts. And you can also follow us at The Dumb Show across all social media. We'll see you at 8 o'clock tonight. God bless. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.